They wanted to push us into a full-scale strike, and instead of that, they've locked us out.
Mail delivery is halted across the country as Canada Post steps up pressure on the union. It's locked out workers and suspended operations in response to 12 days of rotating strikes.
Less than 16 hours after the parties can't come to a settlement, we got government interfering with workers' free collective bargaining.
Stepping in, Ottawa serves notice it could put a stop to the strike at Air Canada. The federal government says it could table back-to-work legislation by tomorrow if the airline and its workers cannot reach a deal. A peaceful protest in Athens has turned violent. Police fired tear gas at a crowd of more than 20,000 protesters. The group had formed a human shield around the parliament buildings in the capital there. They're angry more cutbacks are being imposed, and they're trying to prevent lawmakers from debating new austerity measures. It's all part of a 24-hour nationwide general strike following months of frustration over the country's economic slide. In just under half an hour, we're going to be hearing from union workers who are locked out by Canada Post, and we'll find out how far apart management and workers are on several key issues, pensions being one of them. Scott Peterson tracking the story for us this morning. I know you don't have a script of what the union's going to say, but what are you listening for?
Well, we're listening to some sort of appeasement, some sort of compromise, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be happening. It sounds like the two sides are further apart than ever, and the CUPW, that's the Canada Union of Postal Workers, saying that management, in order for them having shut them out, are being irresponsible and counterproductive. And this is some of the statement the CUPW sent to us here at CBC as far as some of the language we're expecting, and saying that the Canada Post constantly saying no at the bargaining table is costing them dearly, and if they want to stop losing money, they need to negotiate instead of attacking their workers. And so some pretty harsh language, and saying that basically that the union, for their part, they're saying that they're committed to delivering the pension and social assistance checks that we intend to fully commit to. And so they're trying to appease to the public on one hand, but on the other hand, from what I have and what they've sent to us here, it doesn't really look like they've got any kind of proposal as far as a counter proposal, because really the issue on the table, as you touched on, is the pension, and the looming pension at that.
Timing, is always important. Why did management choose to do this now?
Well, it seems that the union, just a couple of days ago, the president of the union said that they might do this, Canada Post, in order to enact going to the federal government, basically in Lisa Rait's jurisdiction as labor minister, to enact back-to-work legislation, basically forcing the workers back. But this is some of the writing on the wall as well to illustrate the point what Canada Post is up against. That is the issue here, that Canada Post has $15.4 billion net assets in its pension plan, but 82,000 people depend on that pension plan. So when you break that all down, it doesn't work out to be all that much. In fact, it's a shortfall of $3.22 billion, and they had to top that shortfall up by the tune of about $425 million last year. So this is the issue that Canada Post is saying that, they want the union to say, basically saying you're being unrealistic by not addressing this issue. So this is really what we're going to be looking at.
And we're going to be hearing from the union in about 25 minutes or so. They're having a news conference in Ottawa. We're going to take that for our viewers live. Markets, why don't we have a look at them?